The banks are closing in on Tasmania's forest contractors as their debts continue to grow. It's prompted the industry to force the forestry debate squarely into the federal election campaign. They want an immediate rescue package, $50 million up front and a further $1 million a week indefinitely to help keep creditors at bay. It's hoped top-level forestry peace talks will come up with an agreed restructure of the industry in the meantime. The National Forest Contractors Association has taken its proposal to both Labor and Liberal, but as Fiona Breen reports, there's been silence from both sides when it comes to forest policy.
Third-generation logger Kevin McCulloch has moved with the times, first clear felling and more recently native regrowth thinning. It's this flexibility that's put him and at least 3 of the state's 4 thinning operators in financial peril.
If I continue on, I will probably, the debt mounting up on the debt I already have is just too much. So I've been advised through accountants and others that to continue would just be courting disaster. So I've actually parked my equipment.
$2 million worth of equipment lies idle, some of which was bought for a native thinning contract with Forestry Tasmania, which collapsed in the sustained downturn. A desperate return to clear felling failed, where the market would only take 60% of his quota.
Well, if I continued on my current contract at 100%, it's getting 100% of the volume, which is not easy. Monthly turnover would be around $80,000 a month, and I need, I think the figure was around 120 to clear debt on a monthly basis.
For how long?
Well, until I can offload equipment. And that's near on impossible at the moment because all the dealers have yards full of second-hand equipment. They don't want any.
Ordered to stop working by accountants, he's resorted to a one-man firewood operation for beer money. An intensely private man, he's stepping out publicly with East Coast contractor Rodney Wilson to highlight the plight of forest contractors in the lead-up to the federal election. Together with elder brother Colin McCulloch, chairman of the Australian Forest Contractors Association, they're appealing to the political parties for immediate financial assistance. All 3 say they're typical of forest contractors in Tasmania.
Trying to stay alive financially has just been absolutely incredibly difficult. Trying to keep our employees and our standing in the community has been extraordinarily difficult as well. And I think if every other contractor is in the same space that I am, yeah, we're close.
In such dire industry circumstances, Colin McCulloch's spoken out, but those involved in high-level talks between industry and conservationists keep their heads down. Colin McCulloch has put a figure on the contractors' restructure proposal.
We've asked for a first-up amount of $50 million to be dispersed back through our communities, and then we'll need $1 million a week going forward until such time as this industry in Tasmania is restructured. What that restructure looks like, we don't know, and if it's signed off tomorrow, next week or the week after, it's still going to take some time for our industry to settle and our industry to, gain the social licence that some people are seeking.
$1 million a week, do you have a time limit on that?
Well, no, because at the end of the day, that's what's needed to keep these chaps and their employees and their communities in some sort of fighting order.
For just 12 months, that'd be over $100 million. It's a lot.
It's a big job. I mean, maybe someone will realise what actually happens in this state with this industry. And it's not an ambit claim.
The alternative for many in the industry is to go under, and they say they'll take local communities with them.
but at the end of the day, if Tribunna or Geeston or Westbury or Exton or Scottsdale in particular lose 9 or 10 businesses out of their communities, that's just an unthinkable hole with no replacement. So there's a lot of pressure on these talks to come out with viable, committed, long-term, structured forest industries.
Yeah, I think so.
In October, East Coast logger Rod Wilson had 17 employees. That's now down to 5.
We've been close to the wall for a long time. We needed immediate help, which I made every effort to try and obtain 12 months ago. Been unable to get that help, and now there's a spike in an upside as far as productivity goes, but we're in a position whereby we're not able to take advantage of that upside because of the position that we're currently in.
He can't afford to employ more people to harvest his full guns quota, nor can he afford to use all his equipment. $1.8 million worth of gear, much of it bought for regrowth thinning, is owned by the bank, and the repayment demands keep coming.
Our position is particularly difficult in regard to trying to continue on in an effort to satisfy existing creditors, and to that end we're trying very hard to trade our way out of the difficulties that and the problems that we've incurred during the downturn.
Rodney Wilson is desperate for the major political parties to commit to an immediate rescue package so he can pay off local creditors.
It's basically the service providers that help us run our business on a day-to-day basis. Fuel suppliers, machinery maintenance, expertise, accounting costs. They're probably the biggies, and then there's a lot of other little ones.
Are you looking for a way out?
My preference would be to continue to foster the ongoing activity of my business, continue to employ local people, continue to be part of the community network as such. That would be my preference. However, we do need to look at all options and make sensible business decisions.
Colin McCulloch's confident his national appeal this week won't affect the contentious peace talks which are ongoing. That assistance proposal, that's not a sticking point in these secret talks.
Not at all. No, it's actually separated out now with 100% support from these talks. And I guess the next challenge for us is to convince our political masters that in the interim, while we're waiting for what we might term the new forestry industry, these are the sorts of funds that are needed to keep us work ready.
So you're saying move forward with this proposal now, keep the talks going even if it takes quite a bit longer, but get this money out.
This money's late. This money is desperately late.
If it's not announced soon, it may end up being too late for some. Must be an incredible stress.
It is, extremely. It puts a lot of pressure on my family, which has been pretty difficult. But we had to make a hard decision, and as I say, if we continued on, we stood to lose everything. By stopping now, we have a chance to save a bit.